For those of you who I just woke up, good morning. Hi, and welcome to the Orange Coast Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Donna McCartney, and I'm honored to be your worship associate today. I'm joined by our guest speaker, Michael Eselun. Our intern minister, Wendy, is here. I wasn't expecting her with her husband, too. It's so great to have you here as well. She's coming back full-time in September, but I guess she'll pop in every once in a while. And I'm also joined by Danielle Lewis, our Director of Religious Education for Children and Youth. Reverend Sean and our Director of Music Ministries, Jacob, are not here today, but Reverend Sean has a special message for you.
Hello, Roomers and Zoomers. So I'm away this week, but my spirit is with you. For those of you who are new to the church, maybe you're just checking us out or curious about Unitarian Universalism, welcome. Glad you're here. You are in for a treat. This is a wonderful, friendly, fabulous, just all-around spectacular community. I hope you can get to know them, because it can be kind of tough to get to know a new community. But here's the thing, just hang in there, join in one of the activities, and before long, you'll get to know people, and then this becomes your church. Well, today we've planned a wonderful service for you, just blending music and word to bring together a helpful and hope-filled message. We hope it will feed your soul. So without further ado, let's go.
So we welcome all of you this morning. Whether you've been here 30 years or 3, 10 months or 10 minutes, and whether you strolled, rolled, ran, or danced in, we are glad you've joined us this morning. We're a community of many beliefs, but we are committed to creating a welcoming community, so we need not think alike to love alike. We'd like to recognize the many volunteers that have helped us to put this service together today. And we acknowledge that our building rests on the ancestral homelands of the Hashiman and Tongva people. Let us pause and remember that we live on ground that is sacred, cries out for justice, and for responsible stewardship. As Unitarian Universalists, we have many different beliefs, but we are one loving community. We're bound together not by a set of rules or beliefs, but rather by a covenant or a promise. And the foundation of our UU covenant is love. To our roomers, we invite you to silence your cell phones. For our Zoomers, good morning, Zoomers. We invite you to say hello in the chat. I want to extend a special welcome to visitors. If you're seeking a spiritual home, we hope that you will find it here. So let's begin our worship service with the call to worship and the lighting of our chalice by our guest speaker, Michael Eselun. Michael serves as the chaplain for the Sims Mann UCLA Center for Integrative Oncology. A 2-time TEDx speaker, Michael speaks extensively to healthcare professionals, patient populations, and faith communities across the country. Michael speaks extensively here at the OCUUC because it's now the 17th time he's joined us this morning. Yay! In addition, Michael has a table set up out in the courtyard after the service. He has some CDs he would like to share with you if you're interested in purchasing them, and he has other information for you at a table out in the courtyard. So, welcome, Michael.
Good morning. As a call to worship, I'd like to offer these words from Joseph Campbell in his book, Myths to Live By. But to enjoy the world requires something more than mere good health and good spirits. For this world, as we all now surely know, is horrendous. All life, said the Buddha, is sorrowful, and so indeed it is. Life-consuming life, that is the essence of its being, which is forever a becoming. The world, said the Buddha, is an ever-burning fire, and so it is. And that is what one has to affirm with a yea, a dance, a knowing, solemn, stately dance, of the mystic bliss beyond pain. That is at the heart of every mythic rite. While Joseph Campbell notes that all life is sorrowful, he also proclaims that one has to affirm with a yea a dance of the mystic bliss beyond pain. That is at the heart of every mythic rite. Perhaps that would be an aspirational description for what it means to gather here in community. A dance, a mythic rite as we come together with our joys and sorrows in tow, a willingness to contain all of that with one another in community. So we light our chalice today as a reminder, a source of light, a centerpiece around which our spirits might engage in that dance.
And let's join in together in our unison of affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth and love, and to help one another. This we affirm together.
Please rise in body or spirit. And to rejoice and come in, and to rejoice and come in. Today will be a joyful day, and to rejoice and come in, and to rejoice in the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day, and to rejoice and come in. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day, and to rejoice and come in, and to rejoice and come in.
beautiful. Thank you. So now is the time for all ages with our Director of Religious Education for Children and Youth, Danielle Lewis.
Good morning. I just want to let you all know that this morning we are going to have a park day with our kids. So if you guys have any children that are going to participate, please come see me out front. We're going to have permission slips for you guys to sign. And then also, here's our time for all ages. Sorry, I know it's a video again, but I'm a big Disney fan and I just think it's the cutest thing ever. So I hope you enjoy it. All right, so just another reminder, we are going to go to a park today. So if you guys have children, please come see me so you can sign permission slips. And I did make an oopsie. I'm new to the area, so we are going to go to a different park. So I will explain to you guys there. Then also you guys will have a paper with the address as well. So we'll go ahead and light our chalice and lead our children out.
In our love, as you go, may your heart be at peace as you go, to nurture the spark of your precious life. We hold you in our love as you go.
As a reading this morning, I'd like to offer this from Dorothy Hunt. It's called Peace is This Moment Without Judgment. Do you think peace requires an end to war or tigers eating only vegetables? Does peace require an absence from your boss, your spouse, yourself? Do you think peace will come some other place than here, some other time than now, in some other heart than yours? Peace is this moment without judgment. That is all. This moment in the heart space where everything that is welcome. Peace is this moment without thinking that it should be some other way, that you should feel some other thing, that your life should unfold according to your plans. Peace is this moment without judgment. This moment in the heart space where everything that is is welcome. I invite us to move into a time of silent reflection. Perhaps get comfortable in your seats and close your eyes if you feel so comfortable. Let's take a few nice, deep breaths together. Inhaling and exhaling. As we breathe and release, let the words of poet Nikki Giovanni wash over you. To me, she speaks so beautifully to the self-compassion in her poem, Choices. If I can't do what I want to do, then it's my job to not do what I don't want to do. It's not the same thing, but it's the best I can do. If I can't have what I want, then my job is to want what I've got and be satisfied that there is at least something more to want. Since I can't go where I need to go, then I must go where the signs point, though always understanding parallel movement isn't lateral. When I can't express what I really feel, I practice feeling what I can express, and none of it is equal, I know, but that's why mankind alone among the animals learns to cry.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole.
There's a whole lot of wisdom out there, particularly in the Eastern traditions, that would suggest that the pursuit of equanimity, acceptance of what is the pathway to inner peace, maybe even to enlightenment. In fact, there's a Zen Buddhist maxim that would say the great way is easy for one with no preferences. Simple, right? Yet, as an oncology chaplain every day, I walk beside folks for whom a cancer diagnosis is automatic entry into the veritable Olympics of acceptance. And Zen masters be damned, every patient I have walked beside most certainly has had their preferences. It would have chosen anything other than this. Stage 4 cancer at age 42? Are you kidding me? I can't accept that. I can't accept that it happened to me, that it happened to my family. I want my old life back. Even though resistance to what is, no matter what our circumstances are, only solidifies and deepens our suffering, guarantees it, in fact, leaving us stranded miles away from any oasis we would ever call inner peace. At the same time, we live in a culture that absolutely reveres self-reliance and abhors what it perceives as self-pity. That part of us that would characterize our feelings as self-pity is the very same part that robs us of the capacity for self-compassion and, in turn, acceptance. The two go together. While I might have this lofty aspiration toward equanimity, I'm also encumbered by all too human feelings of despair and frustration and disappointment and grief and sorrow and anger. What about equanimity for all those feelings? Daryl is newly diagnosed with a rare and aggressive sarcoma, but at this point is absolutely asymptomatic. Feels just fine. It's kind of crazy making, Michael. I'm only sick because the doctor tells me I am. So I guess I'm just supposed to carry on as normally as possible, right? Still, he's heard enough from his oncologist and read enough to have a sense of what's coming down the pike, and that leaves him scared, of course. But Michael, I don't dare feel those feelings. If I do, I'll go down a dark hole and I'll never come out. It's a pretty common perception. If I feel my feelings, if I give them room, they will take hold and suck me down. What I have found to be true is just the opposite. When we give our feelings some air, show them the light of day, let them move over us, it can loosen their grip from around our throat. And I'm often afforded the perspective and the reminder, oh, they're just feelings. And as the German poet Rilke reminds us, no feeling is final. A few years ago, one of the oncologists referred me to Vicky, who was so distressed that the doctor thought she might need a psychiatric evaluation. In any event, Michael, she's up in the infusion clinic now and she's sobbing. Will you go see her? Well, Vicky had been living with a rare lymphoma for about 15 years, and in those 15 years had been on maybe a dozen different drug protocols. Each one worked for a time, and as cancer drugs are wont to do, would stop working. Today was day one of yet another drug protocol, and Vicky was just cooked, absolutely fried. But by the time I got upstairs to hear her tell it, oh, Michael, really, I'm so blessed. Really, I am. Look, at least my cancer's treatable, and I have this great oncologist, and I have really good insurance, and my husband, bless his heart, is so wonderful, and I have all these kids and grandkids and a deep faith and Christian community. Really, I'm so blessed. And it was like the longer she talked, the less oxygen there was in the room. Like the rope was just getting tighter around her neck because she could not reconcile these all too human feelings of disappointment, weariness, frustration, sorrow with her attachment to her identity as Little Miss Sunshine. What's more, an even more fierce attachment to a belief in positivity above all else. I mean, look around here, Michael. So many others have it so much worse. Why am I such a crybaby? Absolutely no self-compassion in that statement, no grace, allowance to be a human being. As if she were trying to compose a symphony called Vicky, but had decided that only these 4 or 5 notes were acceptable to be used. Only these sweet high notes of forgiveness and gratitude and hope and joy. There was no room for deep, dark notes of fear, depression, anger, resentment. It takes all 88 keys on a piano to write a full-bodied symphony. It takes all those sweet high notes, all those deep, dark, low notes, everything in between. A few dark notes in the symphony of Vicky does not make her less of who she is. It makes her more. I see this as a kind of dance between the two, between acceptance and self-compassion. I'm reminded of a toy I had when I was a little boy, a little gizmo with a trigger on it, and when you pulled the trigger, this card spun around very quickly. On one side of the card might be the image of a bird, on the other side the image of a bird cage, and as the card spun around, it looked as if the bird was in the cage. Each side of the card was telling the truth for what it was. Here's a bird cage. But we really only get the complete picture by the constant dance, the movement between the two. What if it's like that between acceptance and self-compassion? The older I get, the more depth of meaning I find in the most deceptively simple song lyrics in very old songs written by the masters of the great American songbook, the Gershwins, Jerome Kern, Rodgers and Hart, Cole Porter. Songs I might have even called corny once upon a time. Irving Berlin was one such master. Let's face the music and dance. Before the fiddlers have fled, before they ask us to pay the bill, and while we still have a chance, let's face the music and dance. So maybe I have been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, or some other tragedy has befallen me. Perhaps it's incumbent upon me to accept it, to face the music, if you will, but not just accept, to dance with it, to dance with all of it and all of the attendant feelings, the grief, the resentment, the anger, the sorrow, the disappointment, but also the love and the hope that might be buried in there when everything's been burnt away. Maybe that can be the pathway to the great way, that dance between acceptance and self-compassion. I had a patient, Casey, a few years ago who used to come to my weekly spiritual reflection group, and she would often comment, "Michael, I hate that word, acceptance. I don't accept that I have cancer. To me, acceptance implies that I approve, and I don't approve. I will never approve. I acknowledge that I have cancer, but I do not accept it." I got a pretty vivid little lesson in acceptance a few years back. It was March 2017. I got to take the most magnificent solo trip for 2 weeks to Nepal and Bhutan. The second to the last day of the trip was probably one of the most perfect, splendid days of my life. Along with my guide, my friend Saiwang, we hiked up to Tiger Nest Monastery outside of Paro. It's a magnificent 17th century Buddhist monastery, perilously and improbably hanging off the side of a mountain with this stunning view of the mountains and the valley below. It's only accessible by foot, and it's quite an arduous climb to get there, not unlike climbing to the top of Yosemite Falls. It's also a site of sacred pilgrimage for the Bhutanese people. All are expected to make that climb at some point in their life. So Saiwang and I made the climb, and when we finally reached the compound, we took our shoes off before we went through the gate. The first thing I saw in the first vestibule when I went inside was this big orange tabby cat snoozing in this narrow shaft of sunlight, piercing through this narrow slit of a window, right next to a monk tending to the altar nearby. Saiwang showed me around a bit. We went into the great hall and sat down and just meditated. And then we lit a few butter lamp candles, sending up prayers for loved ones, patients, my mom. With our spirits full to the brim, we descended back down the mountain, talking every step of the way about life, everything. When I got to the bottom of the mountain, Saiwang and my driver, they surprised me with a herbal hot stone bath in a wooden tub at the family farm of my driver, Sonam Tabgai. After this delirious soak, I was treated to a home-cooked meal with Sonam Tabgai and his family and with Saiwang. It was a perfect day. The next day, I was supposed to fly out of Paro back to Kathmandu, spend the night, and then the next morning, catch my long series of flights to get home to Los Angeles. I got up, I pulled the curtains back in my hotel room. I was stunned. Oh my God, the whole landscape was blanketed in white. It had been snowing all night. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. And just think, Michael, if this had happened yesterday, you wouldn't have been able to go to Tiger Nest. Aren't you lucky? And then it didn't stop snowing. Uh-oh, what if my plane doesn't leave? I quickly scrambled, got packed up, got downstairs, met Saiwang. Saiwang, can we call the airport, do you think? Can they tell us, do you think the flight's going to leave? I don't know. What do you think? No, Michael, they don't allow you to call. You have to go in person. And I'm sorry to say that once I drop you off at the door, it's against the law for me to go inside with you. You'll be on your own, and that will be goodbye. Oh, now I'm feeling a little panic. What if I miss the flight? What if they have to go another day? What am I going to do? I've had that seat booked for a year. Those Airbus 380s on South China Air and coach have 15 seats across in coach. I know they're going to put me in the middle. I won't survive. I can't breathe. Just breathe, Michael. Nothing's happened yet. I wasn't expecting a pop quiz in Buddhist philosophy at this point of my journey. Just pay attention what's happening in front of you. Oh, look, little kids playing in the snow. Aren't they cute? They're so happy to have been let go from school early. We get to the airport, and I have this rather tearful goodbye with Saiwang, which doesn't exactly feel like goodbye because I'm not sure I'm leaving. He tells me he'll wait in the parking lot for an hour, make sure I get off okay. When I go inside the terminal, it becomes readily apparent there is no electric power here. There are no computer screens, there's no PA system, there are no lights. There's one teeny woman behind a counter and hundreds of frantic passengers lined up in front of her. Oh, brother. I have to say, Bhutan is the most Buddhist culture imaginable. It's not just a religion, it's not a way of life. Somehow it's in their DNA. I don't understand how it happens. I finally get up to my time in front of the counter, and this sweet woman looks at me with this kind smile. Yes, sir. How may I help you? As if she has all the time in the world, as if she hasn't just been dealing with hundreds of unhappy, disgruntled passengers. I explained to her about my itinerary and my flight, and I need to get back to Los Angeles, and I had an aisle seat. Yes, sir, yes, sir. She listens and she explains that if the flight is canceled, the airline will have to put us up for the night in another hotel in Paro, but there's a chance you could get a flight tomorrow morning to get you back to Kathmandu in time to make your connecting flight home to Los Angeles. So, of course, the flight is canceled. Thank goodness Saiwang was still in the parking lot, so at least he could take me to the hotel and I didn't have to deal with duffel bags and shuttles and all that. We get to the hotel and it becomes clear there's no electric power there either, that there's a blackout all over Paro. There's no light, no hot water, no heat, no internet, no way to communicate with home. Oh, brother, and it was so cold. I had to put every article of clothing I brought with me on and get under the covers just to keep my teeth from chattering. Well, that was one long afternoon, and this little quiz was going on longer than I liked. There's nothing you can do about any of this, Michael. Just breathe, just relax. As the afternoon drew on, it was getting darker. I realized I got no way to see in this room. There was a candle, but no match. And I certainly wasn't going to use what was left of my phone battery to use the flashlight on my phone. So I hiked through the snow back up to the lodge to see if they had a match for my candle. And when I got there, another man that's coming into the lodge who appeared to be from the airport, looked kind of official. Excuse me, sir, are you from the airport? I wanted to grab him before anyone else could. Can you tell me, do you think my flight's going to leave tomorrow? Well, of course, sir, but first tell me, how do you like the hotel? How do I like the hotel? My inner ugly American is starting to wake up. I didn't even think he was there. Well, it's very cold, and you can't see, and there's no hot water, and there's no internet, and I need to communicate with home. I need to get home. Yes, sir, he said, all over Paro, there's no heat. There's no hot water. Said with this alarming combination of acceptance and tenderness and compassion. It was so striking to me, I thought of calling this talk, How Do You Like the Hotel? I can only aspire to that kind of equanimity. I just don't know that I have the DNA for it. Happily, my flight did leave the next morning. I sailed past Mount Everest with this stunning view against a sapphire sky. I landed in Kathmandu. I ran through customs, ran through security, ran out on the tarmac with my duffel over my shoulder, up the gangway, and they closed the door right behind me, and I sat down in my aisle seat with just seconds to spare. Sometimes things work out. My grandma Ann My mom's mom was a born worrier. She worried about everything and everybody her entire life. Toward the end of her life, she had a lot of health problems, in and out of the hospital, a couple of surgeries. I went to see her after one surgery or another. I remember they wouldn't let me in the recovery room, but I could talk to her over the threshold. "How you doing in there, Graham?" "Honey boy," she said, "you get yourself all worked up over these things, and it's just never as bad as you think it's going to be." Took her 83 years to come to this profound wisdom. She has what it takes to make the journey. I have faced it before. I'll face it again. Can I have faith in my own capacity to respond? A few years later, I got a real exercise in self-compassion. It was January 3rd, 2020, my first day back to work after the New Year holiday. I was driving home from the infusion clinic in Santa Monica, going east on Santa Monica Boulevard. As I crossed Barrington, a woman traveling south ran a cherry red light and smashed into my driver's side door with me on the other side of it, totaling my 13-year-old Prius, a car from which I was hoping to squeeze a few more years. So much so that I just put $5,000 into it for a replacement hybrid battery and new tires, a total loss. Happy New Year. So of course I had to spend money I didn't want to spend on a replacement used car, and yeah, it was nice to have a nicer car, but I'd rather have had the money that it cost me. And later that year, not even a year later, Christmas Eve 2020, the height of the pandemic, we didn't have vaccines yet. Everybody was home in lockdown, remember? It was surreal. It was 5:30, Christmas Eve, Scott and I are home. I hear what sounds like an explosion in front of the house. The whole house shook. I thought, what is that? Had this sinking feeling in my gut, no. I went outside, the whole neighborhood was already out in the street. Some kid running a drug deal gone bad had smashed into my new car with such velocity he knocked it clear in front of the neighbor's house. No! I screamed. I could not accept this reality. I just melted down. God bless Taylor next door. He's just the person you want in a scene such as this. He deals with the cops. He takes the pictures. He gets the license. He gets the insurance information. Well, I'm just falling apart. He keeps saying, Michael, it's okay. Michael, it's okay. I finally snapped. Taylor, quit saying that. There's absolutely nothing about this that's okay. God bless Lisa across the street. She came up right behind me and whispered in my ear, Michael, you're absolutely right. There's nothing about this that's okay. Sometimes you just need your feelings affirmed. You know what I mean? But still, I could not accept this reality. I'm someone who has a pretty low tolerance for injustice, particularly what I do for a living, for Christ's sake. Is it too much to ask that I could have one car totaled, spend money I don't want to spend to get a replacement car, and keep that car nice for longer than a year? Apparently, yes. The answer to that question is always yes. Is it too much to ask? But still, I could not accept it. And everyone I told about this incident responded as you might assume. Oh, Michael, just be glad you weren't in the car. At least you're safe. It's only a car. It's only material things. It's just money. I knew they were right, of course, but the more I heard it, I just wanted to kill people. I wasn't remotely close to that reality. It took a good week to come up with a word to accurately describe how I felt. Forsaken. Spiritually forsaken. The universe, as I had perceived it, had somehow broken its imaginary contract with me. I was forsaken. And because it was holiday time, the insurance company took a good week to come tow the wreckage away. So every morning I went out to get the paper, get my mail. I'm confronted with the violence of that, the ugliness of it, the spiritual injustice of it. When they did finally come to tow it away, I was stunned. I sobbed, like they were wheeling my dead mother out of the hospital room. And I'm not a car person. I went in the house and just cried. Scott was so dear. He just held me. I was so embarrassed for carrying on. So I said, Scott, you know this isn't about the car, right? It's not about the car. I know, he said. I'm a swimmer. I swim every day religiously, partly to stay fit, partly to keep my sanity. During the pandemic, it was quite a challenge to find a place to swim with the gyms closed. And there for a while, I was schlepping out to Glendale because they had a community pool that was open for a few hours a day with strict precautions. Every day scramble to get a reservation for 45 minutes to go swim. So a few days after the accident, I drive out to Glendale. I'm driving back home, thoroughly disgusted with myself for not being able to let this go. I'm driving down Forest Lawn Drive past these two enormous cemeteries, Mount Sinai and Forest Lawn, having a little talk with myself. Look up there, Michael, there's hundreds of thousands of dead people. They'd give anything to be back in a body and dealing with something as stupid as your car. Doesn't that put this into some perspective? No. And in that moment, I had an awakening. This is deeper than that. This is touching a deep wound. A scab has been ripped off. It's incumbent upon me to be curious about it, to be humble about it, to tend to it with compassion without the need to judge it or compare it. It just is. And with that realization, I started to float a little bit closer towards something we might call acceptance. It can be really hard sometimes to feel feelings we do not want to feel. We want so desperately to be strong, to be self-reliant, and to move on, particularly when those feelings aren't congruent with cultural norms and expectations. But the feelings aren't going away. In my view, it's time to go through that doorway, to face the music, to feel the feelings, and to dance with them, to dance with all of them. Because, you know, soon we'll be without the moon, humming a different tune. And then there may be teardrops to shed. But while there's moonlight, music, love, romance, let's face the music and dance. So be it.
Please rise in body or spirit. The promise of the Spirit, faith, hope, and love abide. And so every soul is blessed and made whole. The truth in our hearts is our guide. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one. Emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are answering the call of love. Sometimes we build a barrier to keep love tightly bound, corrupted by fear, unwilling to hear, denying the beauty we found. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one. Emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are answering the call of love. A bright new day is dawning, when love will not divide. Reflections of grace in every embrace, fulfilling the vision divine. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one, emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are answering the call of love. We are answering the call of love.
Unitarian Universalist congregations are fully self-supporting, meaning that members and friends raise all the funds for the operating budget, ministries, and programs of our church. We are ever grateful for your gifts of time, treasure, and talent. OCUC amplifies that spirit of generosity by sharing one half of the plate we receive with an organization that shares our values. This month, we are sharing our plate with the Ahashiman Tongva Land Conservancy. It's a partnership between Ahashiman and Tongva descendants that is committed to acquiring, protecting, and preserving their shared ancestral homelands. They seek to reestablish Native people's stewardship of lands integral to their identity and culture. There are multiple ways you can support this church and this organization. You can mail a check, you can go through our website, or use an app called Vanco Mobile. If you're a roomer, you can simply use the basket as it is passed. The choice is yours. All the information is on our website should you need it. And as always, thank you for your generosity.
There may be trouble ahead, but while there's moonlight and music and love and romance, let's face the music and dance. Before the fiddlers have fled, before they ask us to pay the bill, and while we still have the chance, let's face the music and dance. Soon without the moon, humming a different tune, and then there may be teardrops to shed. So while there's moonlight and music and love and romance, let's face the music and dance, dance. Let's face the music and dance. Teardrops to shed. So while there's moonlight and music and love and romance, let's face the music and dance, dance. Let's face the music and dance. So while there's moonlight and music and love and romance, let's face the music and dance.
Okay, please join us in singing We Gather Together. a song that puts our intentions into words and our gratitude for the many gifts that we share. Sorry. We gather together, we gather as one, for peace, love, and justice for everyone. We give from our hearts to show that we care. We can change lives with what we share.
So now is the time when we honor the important events in our lives. You're invited, one and all, whether you're a member, a friend, or a visitor, to participate in our weekly ritual of joys and sorrows. So let's take a deep breath. Perhaps you come here today holding something close to your heart, moments in the last days or hours that have struck you at your core. If you'd like to honor such a profound joy or sorrow, you're invited to do so. If you're a roomer, you're invited to come forward to light your candle. If you'd like to share your joy or sorrow, you can also write it on a slip of paper provided by our folks who are holding them up now. Raise your hand if you'd like one. And write it, and then I will read it later and share it with everyone. Also, if you're a Zoomer, you're invited to write your joy or sorrow in the chat. And once all the roomers are done lighting candles, I'll read all the joys and sorrows and share them out loud as Leanne Sands lights a candle for our Zoomers. She's our pastoral care helper today. As the music is played, I invite you to silently offer healing or celebration as you feel called and according to your own beliefs. So I'll read messages from the chat first, the Zoomers. So Abby asks, will Michael's CDs be available for sale in the future? And they're going to be sale today.
Yeah, so she can email me
Yes, so email
at my website, michaeleslin.com.
michaeleslin.com, his website. You'll get it there. Marcia H. says, I just knew Michael would be wonderful. What an important message. Isn't that so true? Thank you. Linda C. says, has a joy for us. What a joy to hear Michael's message today. Thank you. And Lee Marie Sanchez shared that it's a joy to be able to face the music and dance with Michael here in my room by Zoom. Very good, Lee Marie. Craig P. shares a joy from KP. A Ukrainian couple that stayed in my home a few months ago called yesterday to report that they are doing well. I'm saying this wrong, but Olea and Natasha have become dear friends. Thank you for being there for them too. And V. Armstrong just sent Michael's website address. It's everybody wants to make sure you get. Okay, so it's www.michaeleslin.com. Okay, I think that's all the chats. So we got lots to do here, folks. Lots of joys and sorrows. Sadly sorrows, but lots of joys too. The first one's from Dolly D. I was honored to be present for the family of Diane Herr on Thursday and conveyed pleasant memories from the membership at OCUUC. Her daughter, who attended RE at OCUUC many years ago, was happy to hear that her mother was so highly thought of by our congregation. Elizabeth K. has a joy. She's wishing Maria Good a special birthday for a special friend. Yay. Happy birthday, Maria. This is from Ralph H. So Ralph is joyful for finding a new and highly efficient urologist thanks to UC Health. So yay for Ralph. Marilyn Giss has a sorrow. She says that my cancer is now stage 4 and has spread to other parts of my body. I am on daily medication. I'm willing to accept as well as feel gratitude for my life and my time on earth. So we're with you, Maryland. Michelle M. is like lighting a candle of forgiveness. The housing is to come through soon for me and my family. It's been over a decade since we lost our home, our car, and our children, and we were terrorized by the police. So pray for healing for Michelle L. Prasanna M. has a joy for us. The Indian cricket team won the T20 tournament World Cup yesterday, defeating South African team in the finals. While I would have accepted the opposite result with equanimity, it sure feels good to be on the winning side. How true is that? So Karen M.P. has a joy for us. We are excited to be sending 8-year-old Derek to Camp Benefield Pines this week for his first time at camp independently. He's on his own. Big brother Jay will be there the following week for junior high camp. So that is a joy. Chauncey has a joy as well. After a 10-year journey, I finally came to a joyous conclusion as I passed my final exam to become a licensed marriage and family therapist. Congratulations, Chauncey. Marilyn F. has lit a candle of hope. Gail Dufour, she's having spine a spine procedure tomorrow. Please send loving and healing thoughts to her. Gail DeVore. Thank you, Meryl, for sharing that. Elaine D. has a joy. Happy birthday today to Meg Wilson. Happy birthday. Couple birthdays today. Okay, Judith Stamper says, has joy. Steve and I celebrated our 38th anniversary last week. Yay, Judith. That is a joy. And this is anonymous. I don't know if they forgot to write their name in or not, but this is a joy. And it's another birthday wish to Maria G. So lots of birthdays today. All right. And Simone B. has a little candle of hope. The Olympic Games in Paris, where I grew up. For those who don't know, she'd like to, sorry here.
Sorry. To point out.
That they were coming up in July.
Yeah, I
That-
know, but there's more.
There's more in the back.
Sorry.
A Frenchman, Pierre de Coubertin, and he's someone that you know.
He brought back the Olympics early in the 19th century. I mean, early in the 20th century. He was responsible for bringing them back. They had been suppressed.
Okay, all right.
So that's what I meant to say. Pierre de Coubertin.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. And the hope is to lead to better understanding between nations. So thank you for sharing that. And I believe that's all we have here. Wait a minute, list just in. Francie C. sends a thank you for the calls and cards for her successful surgery. So, yay, Francie. All right. So now, let us hold in love all the joys and celebrations and all the hurts and sadness, both spoken and silent. Let our joys remind us to be thankful, our concerns remind us to hope, and our sorrows remind us to connect with each other. Let these moments remind us that we are not alone. So please join Leanna Sands, in a spirit of prayer or meditation.
This is called For All That Is Our Life by Liz Weber. Spirit of life, help us to be present with all that is our life, both our deepest sorrows and our greatest joys, so that we can truly live, engaging fully in our own life and in our community. Spirit of community, help us know how linked we are, how each one of our cares touches us all. Help us to ask for support when we are in need and to offer support to others when we are able, so that we may rest in the solace of one another's love. Spirit of love, help us to love our neighbor as we love ourselves, so that we may fully embody love and resist hatred. Spirit of resistance, help us stick up for what is right, even when we are tired or afraid. Help us dream of the world as it should be, to act to bring that world about. Help us find hope in each day. And Spirit of hope, help us through this day and each day. Help us to be present for all that is our life. For this we pray. Amen and blessed be.
So let's join together as we extinguish the flame of our chalice and say together, we extinguish our chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the light of commitment. These we have in our hearts, so we are together again. So thank you all for joining us this morning. If you're a guest or a visitor who hasn't yet been known to us, I invite you to become a part of this beloved community. If you'd like to know more about our church, we invite you to either stop by the welcome table out there in the courtyard, where we have some goodies and information, or contact us at the email addresses on the screen. We want everyone to be a part of this beloved community, so please reach out and we will help you get connected. Our announcements for today, the main one is about what Danielle already shared with you a little bit earlier. And that is after, I guess it's right after we finish here. Yes, the Art of Travel reception at 11:45. We're going to have that, and she explained that to you, so I hope you can join us for that.
At a time of benediction, I invite you to close your eyes one more time and let's breathe together. Might we envision the complicated dance that is our own life right now? All the parts we love that bring us joy, the parts to which we cling, that make us believe life is worth living, as well as the parts we wish weren't there, the parts that are hard to accept. If only this or that would go away or weren't true, then I'd be happy, then I'd be okay. Can we envision those aspects locked in embrace, in a great and wild dance? Might we be fascinated by the dance, entertained by the dance, maybe even fall in love with the dance, perhaps even after, long after the song has ended? So be it.
Let's sing our benediction song together. Let us go out and all do our part. Let us go out, bring joy to each heart. Let us go out with indifference destroyed. Let us go out with joy. Let us go out and all do our part. Let us go out, bring joy to each heart. Let us go out with indifference destroyed. Let us go out with joy. Let us go out with joy. Let us go out with joy. This service is over. Let our service continue.